We are going to start now, going live. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Vishwajit Chaudhary, Project Lead for Advocates for International Development. I welcome you all to this session for India Pro Bono Week. This session, we are looking at the business case for pro bono and the strategic value for Indian law firms. We have an excellent panel, and we'll be hearing from experts from the industry as well as those who have had the benefit of receiving pro bono support. But before I do that, I will very quickly introduce you to Advocates for International Development, or A4ID as we are better known. Advocates for International Development is a UK-based charity that channels legal expertise globally toward the achievement of United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. Founded in 2006, A4ID's vision is to see the law and lawyers play their full part in the global eradication of poverty. A4ID partners with the world's top legal professionals and development organizations to facilitate high-quality, free legal and technical support to advance the SDGs and improve rule of law. With presence in more than 4 countries, which includes India, we have covered more than 100 jurisdictions, more than 70 lawyers, law firms, and advocates dedicate their time to provide pro bono support for more than 900 development organizations that have received support from us. With this, I'm going to briefly introduce you to the panel and the panelists. Today, we are in essence discussing the value that pro bono brings to law firms. At A4ID, we believe that pro bono is indeed a privilege for anybody to be able to deliver. And we also believe that in terms of providing pro bono, there is also a business case for the same. For that, we will be hearing from a number of panelists. We are starting first with our development partners, starting with Mr. Raval, who is an environmentalist and technologist with more than 5 years of experience applying digital innovation to climate action and sustainable development. At the Plant for Planet Foundation, he contributes to the evolution of tools like Tree Mapper, Fire Alert Tracer, and the broader forest cloud ecosystem, helping organizations improve transparency, monitoring, and restoring outcomes. His work blends technology, automation, and thoughtful communication to advance environmental sustainability and support global efforts towards the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Currently contributing as a senior IT program manager, Prem is also proposed to be the director of Plant for the Planet India. So from Prem, we would hear the benefits of having received pro bono advice. We have been working with the organization for some time. And with that, it is over to you, Prem.
Yep. Thank you very much, Vishwajit, for the brief intro. Welcome, everyone, on this session today. I'm Prem, and I would like to share a little bit about how this process is helping us. So first and foremost, I personally believe that what A4Aid is doing is not just legal support, but it's strategic in nature. And it's not just charity, it's strategy, I believe. And why do I believe so? So we, as you mentioned, we are a global movement, and we restore forest ecosystems and we empower young people to fight the climate crisis. Now, the scale of impact is only limited to other countries. We haven't been able to bring it to India the way we wanted. So the solution to that was we had to set up an Indian entity so that we could work very closely with schools, state agencies, restoration partners. And for that, we would require a locally registered, fully compliant Indian entity. And this would only be possible if we had support from A4Aid and SNA law firm who who is currently in process of helping us set up an entity. And this is crucial, not just for our global movement, but it is crucial for hiring, partnerships, certain programs which have to be delivered. At the same time, also scaling our youth education programs across India. And currently, we already have these programs running in 76 countries, empowering 100,000 plus ambassadors. But I believe India being one of the biggest markets, India being one of the countries with the maximum potential, we'll be able to magnify this impact even further. So what A4A did was it connected us with these pro bono legal experts who are guiding us through this entire decision-making process for establishing the right kind of entity. And this, I believe, is a little, maybe not complex, but a little challenging task to identify the right kind of instrument to play with in order to set up. And they have been really supportive about this. So they supported us in giving clarity on governance structures, the board requirements, and the standard MOA drafting and those kind of things. And most importantly, their guidance ensured that we take informed, compliant decisions rather than just rushing the process. Now, in the process, there has been a little bit of hiccups from the Department of Government, but still they have been patient and kind enough to help us through the process day by day as we make progress. Now, what we also see is that the value that will be created is going to be exponential because so far we haven't been able to actively work in India. Now, in order to show you what we really do, I would like to take a few minutes to just walk you through a very short presentation on what we actually do. So, Plan for the Planet and its core spirit is a movement to restore forests and empower young people to fight the climate crisis. So, this is our core. And the main problem that we are trying to solve is that we see that Earth today has only 3 trillion existing trees, where an additional 1 trillion trees could have grown. And at the same time, we also know that forests alone can't solve the climate crisis. There have to be a couple of other things added to solve this. So we have this bundle of solutions that we provide as part of our nonprofit mission, which includes empowerment and education of children and young people, forest restoration and conservation. We also have a for-profit product, which is the Change Chocolate. And the core of what we do, especially me and my team, is involved in this restoration tools. And I'm happy to share that most of us are established here in India. So now when we are talking about establishing an entity in India, this particular element of restoration tools that we are working in order to fund, restore, and monitor and conserve forests. This is going to be even more exemplary because the team is here. We'll be able to support them with all the legal and compliances, which will further enhance our work. And the most important other aspect that we do is also provide research and advice for successful restoration. Talking about the empowerment itself, I'm also happy to share that recently we got support from an EU entity who would like to support our academies in India, and they have been already doing that all across the world. And after the entity is set up, we'll be able to take this work even more deeper in different parts across India. So overall, this entire generation restoration, as I mentioned, 76 countries, 1,800 plus academies, and 100,000 plus ambassadors. Now, when we're looking at these numbers, it may appear big, but what our internal analysis say is that it could be even double if we were to able to focus more in India itself. So India being a population of 1.3 billion people, we have a lot of young people from children and youth, and we'll be able to tap the right audience with the support from our other donors to take this movement even further. And I'll just come to the most important aspects. So what we do is we plant around 2 million trees every year. And currently, we have been planting trees in Mexico, Spain, Ghana, in our own projects. Besides which, we have been supporting over 250 projects from partner organizations. Let me give you a very quick idea of what this looks like. So if you go to the platform, planfortheplanet.org, you will see 300 plus projects which are already live on the platform. And we do categorize them by the different kind of transparency documents that they provide. And what one can do is you can see exactly which particular project in which part of the world is being planted, what is the impact that it's being able to make, and how many trees they have planted versus which region, what is the cost per tree. Then you also see the standards that are followed by them. and all the key decision parameters, which basically help our donors and HNIs and government to further take this, own this project and then raise funds for it. And at the same time, there are using satellite mapping, we can also time travel from year to year to see the impact that we have been making in different parts of this. So that's the core platform that we are talking about. Then we have our researchers from ET at Zurich, Imperial College London, etc., who use different kind of forest restoration methodologies through large-scale field trials. And this further helps us adopt new ways in which we can scale our work. Then I mentioned about the chain chocolate. So the beauty of this is that chocolates is loved by children all over the world. So we decided why not take chocolate as the product, and then every time, every 6 seconds that someone enjoys a bar, every 30 seconds we plant a tree. So that's roughly like 5 bars into one tree. Currently, this is limited only in Germany and Australia. But as I mentioned, if we are able to successfully set up an entity here in India, which A4AID has been helping us with, we'll be able to take this impact across India as well. And here's the beautiful part of what most of our team does, especially from India. So we have this restoration platform, which I shared with you. Then there are a couple of other applications, like there is this tree mapper to monitor forest restoration. We have a fire alert app to rapidly stop forest fires. Then we are coming up with Tracer. This will be primarily in use in the EU for deforestation-free agriculture. Then a new app is coming, which is about seed manager for biodiverse ecosystems. And then there is this tree game. It's a game which helps people learn more about the world's forest. So this entire suite of software tools is mostly developed by our developers, designers, ideators from India. So that's the platform. So far, we have been able to plant 90 million trees, which have been donated through the platform. And so we use the satellite map to see how a project site developed. And it's made available to us by NASA, ESA, and other providers. And similarly, there are other applications that we work on. And as I mentioned, there are 300 plus restoration and conservation projects who use the platform to fundraise and monitor their projects. And this includes the who's who across the world, right from WWF to Eden Reforestation and the International Tree Foundation, etc. So this is the impact that we have been able to make throughout the world. But now I think the next year is going to be about how do we take this work in India. So bottom line is I'm grateful on behalf of Plan for the Planet for the support that A4 has been making. Now, although we are still in the process of registration, but because of this guidance, it has already saved us months of uncertainty that we were in. And this pro bono support is helping us build the foundation for a long-term climate impact across India. So that's a little bit I would like to end up with. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Raval. This was very impressive, and the staggering numbers you've given. I'll certainly come back to you with many questions that we'll have. And I do have to say, I was really drawn into the eat a chocolate and plant trees. I think that's really encouraging. So we'll be back to you with questions. But we've got our second brilliant panelist, Ms. Sunita Bhambre. Sunita Bhambre is a legal and compliance professional specializing in financial services and cross-border services. She has an impressive experience of more than 30 years in legal and compliance, and she's worked both in India and the UK during the course of her career. She's also a qualified non-practicing barrister and solicitor from the United Kingdom, and she has worked with various international clients and firms entering the legal markets. Sunita is currently the operating partner at Gunnar Cook, one of the biggest law firms in the UK. And she has been associated with Advocates for International Development for the better part of 15 years. She is on the board both for A4ID UK as well as for A4ID Foundation. So with that, Sunita, I will pass on to you to talk a little bit more about the strategic value of firms providing pro bono.
Thank you, Vish. It's a real honor to be here present today, and it was really wonderful to hear Prem's presentation, to see something take shape as opposed to just looking at it theoretically. So wonderful developments there. So I've been involved with the law for 30 years, and I started working with A4ID in the UK very early on in my compliance career. So I've been associated for about 20 years with A4ID. They're a wonderful, forward thinking, motivated organization. And I'm really pleased to be supporting their initiatives in South Asia and working with esteemed colleagues in Delhi who you'll hear from on that project to take our vision forward in New Delhi and beyond. I felt the need always to use my skills, not only to obviously develop my own personal career, that's very important, but in parallel to support pro bono initiatives where your skill set was used to better advance and support organizations trying to achieve commendable and some of these wonderful projects and support their implementation. And so I've been with A4ID ever since, and I then joined the board in 2012 after being a volunteer while I was working with various banks. And I found that as lawyers, our skill set is uniquely suited to providing so much support to organizations to drive through change, and also to navigate and steer the thought processes for NGOs and charities in what they wanted to achieve. And A4ID's model of bringing together these two pieces of the pie is fantastic, because we get to support and hear all about these wonderful initiatives that we can then help drive forward with our skill set. And personally feel very, very excited about that, being part of something bigger than you are, and seeing some of that change in society. So I think from a legal perspective, just like any other unit's perspective, I think it's critical that we support change in a charitable sphere. It is a great platform for lawyers to go outside their kind of comfort zone in what they're doing on a day-to-day basis and look at things that satisfy their other interests as well. So young lawyers will get exposure to things that are quite different from what they're doing, but require their skill set. So it opens up an opportunity for you to learn, to network, to learn skills. And obviously, you're doing the research, you're drafting, you're creating the guidance, and providing the solution. And it is incredibly empowering feeling. And I can say that from experience because I felt like that for the entire time. And when an opportunity to become a director opened itself up, I jumped at it. I was working with fantastic colleagues from the legal profession in the UK, and there was much to learn from my perspective as a young lawyer. I think it really helped me, not only in my legal skills, but also developing softer skills, interactive skills, and then learning how to navigate as a young lawyer. And that is what I hope to bring to the table and drive forward as we try and create that ethos of a support, empathetic support for something that's always bigger than you, but which protects society and which you can feel in that you've really achieved something other than your day job and your bread and butter. So I think I'll stop there, Vish, and I'm happy to take any questions now or when you're ready. Thank you.
Thanks very much. This was really encouraging, and I think the personal experience and the empathy that you mentioned is certainly what we hear from a lot of our partners as well. We will come back to you, ma'am, with questions. Thank you very much for that. And now we move on to Mr. Aruneshwar Gupta, senior advocate, who many of us might already know. By way of introduction, Sir is a seasoned legal professional and he has been practicing in the Supreme Court since 1976. He has extensive experience across almost all the high courts in India. In addition, he also has significant international litigation experience, particularly in Singapore and the United States of America. He was also instrumental in the installation of court number and item number display devices in the Supreme Court in 1986, and he launched the first Indian legal website in 1996. Additionally, he was the architect of sports acts enacted by the states of Rajasthan, Himachal Pradesh, and Uttar Pradesh, which paved the way for IPL in cricket. He's also served as chief draftsman of the white paper on publishing and printing of judgments using neutral citation and contributed as a member of the Supreme Court Committee on Subject Categorization. Mr. Gupta is also a prolific writer and a speaker, having contributed to name numerous articles, presentations, and addresses in India and internationally. He has read a paper in CLA conference at Hong Kong in 2009, Livingston, Zambia in 2019, Goa in 2023, and lately Malta in 2025. He has authored Understanding the Supreme Court Better, 151 Facts You Need to Know, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, A Lawyer's Perspective, Legal Revolution 5.0. This is talking about online conflict resolution, peace, mediation, and digital assets. And he's also co-authored Supreme Court on arbitration law. He's a voracious reader, of course, in addition to being a voracious writer, and he's a deep thinker, a passionate advocate focusing on online dispute resolution as well as peace mediation. So, sir, we turn to you now to understand better perspective of a strategic value of providing pro bono for lawyers and for law firms. Over to you, sir.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you, Vishwajit. Thanks a lot for putting me on the panel. Now this is very, let me go straight to the topic. Pro bono for law firms. Now, pro bono for law firms is because, now you see, basically pro bono is in its simple term, is a private legal aid. Lawyers and law firms using their skills for those who cannot afford them. That is exactly what pro bono is. Now, yet the real question for most firms, and here I am talking for law firms, is not what pro bono is, but why they should do it in sustained and a measurable way. Now, how does it help a law firm? And how does it matter to the clients? And how can it be tracked beyond the few feel-good anecdotes? Now, that's the real issue what we have to deal with. Now, there are two basic aspects that I would like to put it here. One is that there's a large number of multinational corporations and global investors who are increasingly looking at the social impact credentials alongside the technical expertise and the billing rates. Now, this I always say is as a result of it, what I call the COVID kick. Suddenly the world has moved into a metaphysical world and people have become aware of environment, people have become aware of health, and they also become the value that you are actually giving to the society. So ESG reports, SDG aligned disclosures, and responsible business ratings have made it clear in the emerging global marketplace that reputation is not just about winning cases, but about what you stand for and who you stand with. This has become very, very important. So this is where the whole idea of pro bono comes in. Now, there are 5 broad aspects which I always say which are important for the law firms. And these are also important for, when I heard Prem Rawal, also for the client, because the environmentalists are there. There are a large number of groups like teachers are there, people who are helping. The Agewell Foundation is one. There are young sports students who need pro bono services. Now, the whole idea of pro bono really comes in because the person who needs help can't afford to pay. Now, so far as the activists are concerned, I always say, taking it from what Prem Rawal said, I always say that there are three things required for doing anything. One is you need a good product, like helping the environment is a good product. Then you need regulations. So unless you have a regulatory system in place, that is where our legal aid or lawyers come in. You can't proceed because every country, if you are doing it in 76 countries, there are 76 kinds of regulations to regulate your activities. So you need support in all the countries from lawyers. Now, and then for our product, you need a good team and a finance, and then you got marketing. So that's another part of it. So coming back to the law firms, why law firms require it, there are 5 broad aspects why the law firms should do pro bono activities. Now, one is it adds to the talent, culture, and retention. Now, the young lawyers today, is very interesting. They're increasingly wanting to do purpose. They are just not looking for pay. See, money was an important, now the second generation, third generation, even the first generation lawyer got a good backup behind them so where the money is concerned. So they're looking for purpose for why they are, into law and whom they are helping. So credible pro bono program signals that the law firm stands for justice and not only for profit. It builds royalty, reduces burnout, and deepens the sense of professional pride. Now, there's one of the most important things when I say we must be proud to be a lawyer. So it's just not the whole old story, and that is what I have tried to cover in my book. That people who have been, hitting hard against the lawyers, including Shakespeare, when he said that the first thing I will do is kill all the lawyers. Now, the system doesn't work like that. Aristotle said that, and that is on the other side, there are, so I've put in all the 40 authors on this side and 40 other side. And Aristotle says that if there is no justice in law, if there's no law, there's no justice. And if there's no justice, then the societies don't survive. The second part is the training ground of excellence. This pro bono activities give you a very good platform. So pro bono matters often give juniors early responsibilities of drafting, clients handling, appearing in courts and tribunals. Then they confront complex human problems. Now that's most important. Sharpen empathy and strengthen judgments, skills, and directly improve their work for paying from non-paying clients. So then they've got the third part is the brand, reputation, and relationships. So courts, bar associations, civil societies, and communities remember which firms show up when there is no fee on the table. And that is where the role of A4ID comes in. Because we connect the clients to the lawyers who are giving the services pro bono. Now there's a link that is coming up, and that is where A4ID comes in. So this is the real issue which is extremely important. Then it creates a reservoir for goodwill and trust that no marketing budget can buy. Then clients' expectations and global standards. Now there's another important aspect. That multinational law routinely say, what is your pro bono policy? How do you contribute to access of justice in the SDG 16? Then firms with strong verifiable pro bono records stand out of the panel selections, RFPs, and cross-border collaborations. And finally, the risk management and social stability. So a more just, less conflict-ridden society is good for business. So this is where we are also working with the mediation, and one of the major pro bono service provider, we call it PSP, is Nivaran, which is the Supreme Court mediators platform, of which I am also a part. And that is where the whole idea is to come down to a conflict-free society. So how to not adjudicate, but get into resolution of a dispute, and if possible, resolution of a conflict itself. Then the issue is of supporting legal aids, compliances, and prevention laws through pro bono works, and reduces systematic risk and enhance the rule of law. Now, with this, these are the things which a law firm needs. Now, there's another thing that we are working on, and that is where we started A4ID. Is again a pro bono service provider, basically. So we have started what we call the PICS economy. It is called the pro bono social impact credit economy. Now, this pre-economy, and that is where we can register Prem, who is a PSP also. So we are now, you see, the real challenge so far has been the measurement of how to measure pro bono activities. So a lot of people say we do a lot of pro bono, but how do you measure the pro bono? Now so they have got hours. So what is the rate of the hours? So you can have anything between $150 per hour to $750 per hour, and in terms of Indian rupee, it can be 3,300 rupees to 58,000 rupees an hour. But then there are no standard measures. So what we are trying to do under the PICS is to make a standard. It's the number of credits that you get. It doesn't mean in the terms of money. So it's a slight shift from the normal fiat currency and moving it to the credit points. So the pro bono service credit provides a standardized units of recognition. Now, every hour of credible, verified pro bono work, direct legal aid, policy work, training, mediations, community legal literacy, anything that is being done, even the environment work, like people who are volunteers with the group of Plants for Planets. Now they can get these PICs. So that is their measurement of what, apart from the money, the one part is money they're getting, but another part is that PICs, and this can be moved around. Now, this can be translated into PICS units based on time, complexity, and the impact. It is a transparent, portable record. So PICS create a digital trail of service, and this will be an open on the web, so everybody's name will be there. It is not like a crypto where you have got a cryptic statement. Nobody knows who's owned how much. So this is where the individual lawyers, practicing group, and everybody has the verifiable social impact balance sheet. So this is where we are trying to align with the global metrics by mapping PICS with SDG 16 and the ESG's indicators firms can integrate the pro bono contributions into the annual report, sustainable disclosures, and client representations. So this is what is my take is that extra work after the office hours. Everybody has got 3 to 4 hours where he really want to do some social contribution. Now, this can be, the PICS economy can become a part of the firm's core identity and long-term strategy, a laboratory for learning of young lawyers, a credible signal of sophisticated client and multinationals, and bridge between the courtrooms and the community. So it is a quantifiable contribution to be fairer, reasonable, just, and proper for a stable society. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I think one key takeaway that I'll certainly be contemplating a lot more on is the what you described as the COVID kick, because really the world has changed, and I think you're absolutely right in identifying that there has been a shift in terms of the measurements and the other aspects of the work that we do. I will try my best to summarize everything that you've said, although this might be a very high order because I think there were a number of ideas floated that I might not be able to justify in terms of the time that I have. But before I do that, I am going to move to what I find as a very exciting part, because I also get to learn a lot about the question and answers that have been posted in the group. I think the first question I'm going to take is from Mr. Raval, and this will be for you, sir, and for you, ma'am, which is essentially is that what strategies can non-profits and their respective law firms use to manage prolonged MCA approval timelines and name-related objections, particularly when an NOC from the conflicting party is required but not forthcoming, despite no real business impact to them. So this really goes to the heart of some of the red tapeism or some of the things that are hindering the registration for mere technical errors. What can we as lawyers do to make this better? So I will field this to you first, sir. Sir, can you hear us, Aruneshwar, sir?
I can hear you, but you see again, as I look at from my point of view from the legal litigation, see, I've been more of a litigation lawyer, and I always say that these are the issues of approvals more belong to the chartered accountants and company secretaries rather than belong to the litigating lawyer firms. So I think we'll have to I know Sunita ji will be able to do it, or we'll have to get somebody because these are all more of corporate work. I've been more a litigator in my life, so that's not
Yeah.
my actually cup of tea. And I don't want to give an answer which doesn't make sense.
So I think no, so that's a really good question. I think when an NGO is thinking about building their charitable endeavor, at the end of the day, they operate within a corporate structure, and if you are going to grow, you must corporatize yourself and move in parallel. So I think the idea is that when you reach out for pro bono, you have a diaspora of company secretaries, chartered accountants, lawyers. I think it's very important that you continue to have ongoing relationships with people. You could get a piece of legal advice, but there's nothing to stop you developing a relationship where you get those individuals to buy into your ethos and continue to support you. It's not always going to be pro bono, there are challenges, but they are professionals. There's tax professional who can help you. Everyone, we're talking about legal professions, but all of these professions need to come into play and support you. So I think it's relationship building to see how you can get a steer. And the same goes for the government organizations. You've got to develop relationships with them as well, to get your message across and your journey across to them. So I hope that answers your question.
Let me add something which now I take a lead from what Sunita ji says. You see, for an NGO, when you're talking of an NGO, you have got just three simple entities. Either you will have a Section 8 company, or you will have a society, or you have a trust. Now, so far as the trust and the society is concerned, you have to get it registered. So that doesn't take much time. It can be registered within a week's time. The only time it takes is your to create your own trust deed or keep your society's deed. After the deed, the registration is not more than, let me tell you, not more than 5 working days. So far as your Section 8 company is concerned, that is also, I don't think there's much of a problem because a Section 8 company can be done in 3 days. So you get the name approval and then you see, it is your internal structuring which is more difficult. What are the trustees? Who are the members of the society? Or who are the directors? Or who are the promoters of the company that you are taking up? Now, once that is clear to you, and once the objective is clear to you, because maybe I didn't take the correct question. The whole process of registration of an NGO is not taking any time at all in India. Not more than 5
Yeah,
days.
I mean, and I've just seen your Q&A up, Prem, that you're saying it's been stuck for a year. Now that's
What are you doing? I
really,
don't see any reason why should you be stuck for a year.
yeah. So the question is, to get pro bono advice, you can continue the journey with whoever is supporting you from a pro bono perspective to see how they can help further. You also, I work with several startups, and I give time to them. I sit on the board. I've supported cooperatives, which is all voluntary, and so I buy into what they're trying to achieve, and then I'm part of the journey so that I can help. And you can develop that ongoing relationship with someone who is supportive of your initiative. And then I think on a case by case basis, this will, we take it offline to see what the challenges are for you in this specific case. Vish. So I think this is something to take offline, and I'm happy to have a chat as well. See if I can help you.
Certainly, we've been working with
Prem, can you exactly tell what is the problem here for 1 year? I didn't get that.
Yep. So there's been a couple of things. First, then getting a name. So we wanted the name Forest Cloud Solutions. So first we wanted plans for the planet India, but it was impossible to get that because the
I may
word
just
planet.
stop you.
Yeah.
If I may just stop you there,
Yeah.
Prem. I am
We'll
going
take it
to.
on
Sure.
offline situation.
Yes, so
Yeah.
we
Let's.
have
Yeah. Yeah.
We've got a legal team, but we'll certainly be there. But I think the takeaway from this, I think, as Ms. Bhamri said, is really the importance of collaborations, and not just lawyers. And I think that's a very pertinent point. And as I think Sir also mentioned, in terms of a broader understanding of it. Right, we've got a few other questions. All right, this is. An anonymous question. And the question is, can the legal panelists give example of when you provided pro bono and what motivated you to do so? So I think this will be for the two lawyers on the group. And I'll start with you first, sir. Any time when you provided pro bono, what motivated you?
Yeah, for me, the pro bono had three basic reasons. One, I felt, so where the litigation is concerned, that there has been injustice in a particular case, and the client is not able to pay at all. The man is already sold out his land, he has sold out his wife's jewelry, he is still stuck in a criminal case, he is unable to pay. And so this is one of the basic reasons where I realized, and I started we worked for pro bono. I've been working right from the beginning of my career, in fact, which is now completing 50 years. And that is also where we come out with the PICS economy. I said, look, I have spent my time. Now, having spent my time, there must be some barometer to determine how much time it has gone into. So this has been the one basic reason. And secondly, uh, because or maybe I think that is the major reasons why because the client don't pay and they feel injustice is being done to them. Secondly, again, helping out the people, large number of people come to you for advices which are not litigating in nature. So they may be just say plain simple like incorporation of a company. They are very simple thing which we have been dealing in and out and in and out. So I just continue to give them free advice. You can do this, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, you can do that. Well, which for me it is not a very strong intellectual research job, but that's something which comes offhand. So there is a plain simple giving advices. So these sort of pro bono activities has always been done. And then there have been disputes in the family, matrimonial issues. So you try to resolve them. So there are a large number of pro bono mediations that you continue to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, sir. Over to you, Ms. Bhamri.
Just to add to that, I volunteer as a board member of a small something called credit unions in the UK. Is a purely voluntary role, and it is focused on financial inclusivity for the poorest members of our society who can't get access to banking services. Now, I wanted to do something in financial inclusivity. I wanted to support with my core skill set of being a lawyer and compliance officer. And it all came together for this voluntary role, which was immensely and personally very, very satisfying and was a great journey. And I am very proud of the work I did there. And yes, it's all in your private time, but you have to, make that balance between your job and, contributing back. But it can be immensely rewarding.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. All right, I've got another question. I know we are running out of time, so maybe one or two other short questions. The question is, how receptive might bar councils and lawyers associations in India be to support pro bono initiatives, as opposed to legal aid? Of course, we've appreciated that these are two useful but distinct things. Is there any insight into these associations? We have pro bono vis-a-vis opposing to legal aid. So I understand, sir, you have experience with a number of bar councils, including at the Supreme Court. So I will pose this question to you in terms of how receptive bar councils and lawyers associations in India might be to support pro bono initiatives.
See, if you see every lawyer, as an association, there may not be very big response because there are no programs run by bar councils or bar associations to do pro bono activities. But because the major work has been done by legal aid, because at the moment there is in every case, every time then order is passed by the Supreme Court, the letter goes to the respondent and there's a 4-liner below the order. Letter is that if you want legal aid, then you approach such and such, such and such, such and such. So and they've got huge budgets also. So though the budgets may not be paying to the lawyers, they are more spent elsewhere. But then so everybody who gets a case from, well, like I, as a senior counsel, I get almost one matter per month to do a legal aid matter. And they're all criminal matters coming from jails, people who have got death sentences, life imprisonments, murders, and all sorts of cases. So we continue to do that. So they are the major flow of pro bono activities which the lawyers are doing, I think in India are through the government machinery only, and bar association, where the roles are different. In fact, bar council have no role to play in a pro bono activity, and the bar associations also, they don't have much.
Okay.
That's so far as the bar association, bar councils are concerned.
Right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Ms. Bhambre, if you can hear us, would you like to add anything to that?
Sorry, my signal keeps dropping. I think I'm going to merge two questions. Obviously, appetite for major institutional bodies is fantastic. In the UK, for example, obviously the Law Society, the Bar Council is very focused on pro bono, supporting how the legal community can support, how we can engage with corporates, how we can engage with civil society, government or institutions. There is a real ethos of pro bono. So it's quite embedded there, and I'm hoping that that motivation is going to come in India. I attended the Tuesday session, and it was absolutely amazing to see all the young lawyers who are so keen to give time from their busy schedules to support pro bono. And I think it can only get better and better as we progress. I mean, at the end of the day, this is going to make India shine and develop as well, and we all have a commitment to making sure that that happens. So I'm very encouraged that if we engage with governments and civil society and corporates, we are going to be the people who have to drive it, and change some of the mindset about pro bono.
It's very, very well said. Thanks very much. I think one more question, which is what are the biggest challenges that you've faced in providing pro bono? I think maybe we could start with you this time, Ms. Bhambre, and then we'll come to Sir.
What are the biggest challenges? I think the challenges are not for me. It's I've made a decision to support XYZ. So I've made a decision to support A4ID, set up the India Foundation, for example. So there will be challenges, but I'm quite clear that I already decided that I was going to do a pro bono piece of work here and give my time. And that time involves anything that I can solve for them as a lawyer. And if I can't, giving them access to my ecosystem, because I've worked for so long, that I have relationships with other professionals, tax advisors, company secretaries. So the idea is not that the challenge is always going to be there. It's huge. There's always going to be an issue. You have to have the appetite for running with the project and helping them solve the problems. I think that's the mindset that you have to have.
Thanks very much. I think we've seen that firsthand for sure. Over to you, Sir. Any challenges that you would want to bring forth?
No, again, I'm just adding to what Sunita says. So far as I'm concerned, there is no challenge. But the issue is the whole idea of pro bono needs a lot of advocacy. The concept of pro bono has to be promoted. You see, the same problem like mediation. The people don't have trust. They still feel that if you get something free, it doesn't give you the value. Now, so therefore, the trust will really come back by the names, the people who are associated with the whole pro bono activities. Like A4ID, the people lawyers we register, the law firms we register, like they are doing very successfully in England. So the top law firms are registered. So when the services are coming from the top law firms, then maybe, but then I have my certain question mark, because I always feel the big law firms is again put up young juniors on the jobs rather than the small law firms, which can do it more. They do it more passionately, and the services are much quicker. But end of the day, as again, maybe I'm repeating myself, unless there is a systematic structure, and if there is a systematic structure, by the law firms or the individual lawyer can then tell exactly, look, this is the amount of pro bono work I've done. Like now, by a judgment of Supreme Court, they've said that to become a senior advocate, you need to do pro bono activities. That was earlier, but they are considered. Now, how do you barometer it? What is the barometer for the pro bono activities? So if like A4ID continues to have associated a large number of lawyers whom they give you, they give you the numbers or they will give you the picks. So there is a standard barometer. Okay, these law firms have done so much of pro bono work. And once these barometers are determined, like today, ultimately wealth is the barometer of the social value of a person. So similarly, if the pro bono credit points become the social worth of a law firm, then it can be a big booster. So this will be a game changer for the law firms and even for the people. Then they have got confidence. Okay, I can't pay, but there are people who are doing a lot of activities.
Thanks very much. So I think we have maybe space for one more question. I think that's what happens when you have brilliant lawyers on the panel because they've been so succinct. We've had some time to save. So please feel free to type your questions. Meanwhile, I'll try summarizing some of the things that were said in terms of the speeches. Right. So we've got one additional question. Should there be more recognition for those who do pro bono? Would that help with motivation? I think this time we'll also take not just legal perspective, but also maybe I could start with you, Mr. Raval, because you've been receiving pro bono support. So, what do you think about this particular structure?
About having pro bono access, right?
Yes, about having pro bono access and also the recognition of those who have provided you pro bono. So, recognition from an
Yeah.
external.
Yeah, so two things. One is, as I mentioned in my earlier talk, that it's not just charity that legal firm does, but it's a strategic enablement that it does. And I think it becomes a huge support. Let's say if we didn't have support from SNL law firms recommended by A4Aid, we wouldn't have made any progress at all. At least now we are at a stage wherein we know what's going wrong. And in all cases, wherever there has been a delay or a miss, it's a third party aspect which needs to be dealt with. So I believe it's a huge support. And at the same time, my personal wish is, and this is something I would also recommend to our team, is that we would like to have this particular firm as part of our permanent advisory after our firm is established here in India. At the same time, we could also take probably their recognition to other countries where they have their presence to set up other entities across the world because our mission is literally to spread it as much as we can. And in that case, once we have, let's say, enough funds for this activity, we could also switch from a pro bono to a regular engagement as a client and a law firm.
Thanks
That's
very much. I think that goes to what Ms. Bambri said in terms of the future of how collaborations could work. So with that, I'll come to you, Ms. Bambri, and if you would like to add something to this.
Beg your pardon. I think with pro bono, as Prem just said, it's all about connecting, talking to people. We're all one world. You have enough people who are doing pro bono, who are great legal minds and, non-legal as well. And it's just a question of reaching out, having a conversation. There's always someone out there somewhere you can be connected to. So you'll always have roadblocks. It's a challenging enterprise, but you'll always have support. And you should always remember that there'll always be someone there to help.
Thanks very much, sir.
I think that's we have covered absolutely almost everything, and then let's take it up. Ultimately the taste is in the eating.
Absolutely.
So the fact is, if you are able to give good pro bono services to people who really need and can't pay, or who are see, and particularly the NGOs who really can deliver a lot of things. And since I started doing searches on this, we have got something like 30 active, the big groups, like people donating bloods, people doing so much of work is being done by people,
Right.
and the NGOs really don't know how to go ahead with it. So those who are established are already established, but the newcomers with new energy, they really need good legal support, and we are there to help them out. So A4ID is there, and the whole
Thanks very
A4ID
much.
team is there. Thank you.
Thank
Absolutely.
Thank you. I think I'm going to use the last 30 seconds for a rapid fire. So whatever comes to your mind, you just have to answer within 5 seconds. I'll say a word, whatever comes to your mind, please just shout it. And I'm going to start with you, Prem, to put you on the spot. Pro bono, what comes to your mind?
I would say gin, a gin. You just wish for it and it gives you whatever you want.
Great.
That's what
Great.
comes to me. In the
Thank you.
legal and compliance space, of course.
Perfect. Sir, Arunesha, sir, what comes to your mind when I say pro bono?
Meaningful services to those who need, who can't
Thank you
pay.
very much. Great. Ms. Bambri?
Giving back.
Giving back. Thank you very much. For all the participants in the chat box, there is a feedback form. Please do take the time to fill it. It won't take more than 3 to 5 minutes, but it really helps us in tailoring the events for our future activities that you host. So that can happen simultaneously, I will very quickly try to summarize all the various ideas that were said. I think from you, Mr. Raval, it was really heartening to see the staggering impact that you've had. And I think it really puts into perspective how pro bono can be a force for good and how it can be fitting into things that at the first instance might not appear to be as obvious. So it's really good to see stories of impact, and it's also good to see that there is that sort of chain, and that pro bono and legal pro bono especially becomes a part of that bigger picture. So thanks very much for bringing that in. Ms. Bhambre, it was very heartwarming to see that not only was this a personal passion, and it continues to be one, but also how it has helped enrich you individually as well as professionally. I think what you said in particular about the diversity of skills that lawyers acquire by providing pro bono is really something that a lot of law firms will be taking away from. Aruneshwar sir, again coming back to the COVID kick, I think very rightly said about the ESGs as well as the changing world, and how we will continue to need a pro bono, and how it really has to be something that we work on in a structured way, and we are there to measure the impact. We are all very we welcome any questions that you might have. Sorry if some of them were missed out, but please do reach out to us, and we look forward to collaborating with all of you. Before ending,
Sorry, just to say thank you. I can see that we had, quite a few participants, and very grateful for everyone who joined, because this is how we're going to make the change. So always available for anyone who wants to reach out and ask a question. Thank you.
so thanks very much. We look
Thank you.
working with you all, and a special thank to all our amazing panelists. I think I'm going to lead the round of applause from all the participants.
To everyone.
To our session partner, our steering committee partners for India Pro Bono Week Trust Law, and also special thanks to everybody who has made the time to attend this session. Pretty much on time, we are going to end this here. Thank you very much for joining, and we look forward to working with you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you.